Okay, the next technique is square layers. It is another interior technique, but technically it is a traveling guide. We're going to start the same way. Mohawk right down the middle. Righty stand on the right hand side. Lefty stand on the left hand side. So we have our mohawk. We're going to stand again right side for right-handed people, left side for left-handed people. This one is hair at 90, finger parallel to the ground. I'm going to use this as my guide, cutting straight across. So again, this is another layer, interior, but we're going to create more layers in the interior, so it's going to have more movement. Once it goes below the crest, over direct everything up into the interior until I run out of hair. This one again is going to have more layers. Once I've cut my mohawk, I'm going to turn and I'm going to stand behind my work. I'm going to take a vertical subsection, pull the hair straight up, and my guide will be in the center. Fingers parallel to the ground and cut square to the ground. Again, everything is combed up into the interior. Take a subsection. I'm going to bring the guide back, but I also have my reference in the middle, always, which makes it nice. There's my guide there, there's my guide there. So I have two checkpoints to make sure that my lines are working correctly. Over direct everything up to the interior. This is a very common technique that you're going to use to tie in a lot of haircuts, so that way it gives them the opportunity to part at different places. I don't need to carry all that with me, so I'll split that in half, take my next subsection. I'm still at the flat part of the head, so my vertical lines are straight back. Guide there, guide there. So I have two checkpoints really. Make sure that my hair is correct. Again, always keep in mind it's an interior technique. So everything is going to be over directed to the interior. One more. That's going to be straight vertical before we have to follow the curve of the head, and I'll show you that here in a second. Split that guide. You don't need to take all that with you. It's a lot of hair. Bring that guide back to my subsection. Guide, guide. Over direct everything up. You see your guide, follow your guide. So now when I get to the side of the head, I have to work my way around the head. So I have to pivot around. So it's a pivoting guide back here. So it becomes kind of like a pie shape back here. You still have your reference in the middle, but you're on a curved shape of the head. So your guide or your subsection has to be kind of a pivot. There's your guide there, there's your guide there. Straight out, square to the floor. Keep taking those little pie-shaped partings. Keeping that line vertical. Interior, comb everything up to the interior. My next guide or my next subsection should be in the middle. Everything should be square from there before I move on to the other side. See? everything's good. So now I go back, stand behind my work, go back and find my mohawk, because that's my reference point. I can pin that off if I need to. Vertical subsection. It's hair straight up, square to the floor. Straight up. Guide there, guide there. So I have two reference points. Follow your fingers right behind your comb. Split that guide. You don't need all that guide. Split that guide. Otherwise you're over directing it and then you're going to get a false guide. Follow your finger right behind. One key note, you'll notice I'll bring my fingers up sometimes because I don't want to put any pressure on that hair. So when I comb that hair straight up, I want to make sure that my fingers are not really touching the hair. Because if I do that, I've created a different guide. So sometimes you'll see me do that so I'm not putting pressure on the hair. Just kind of a reference for yourselves. Okay, as we get to the side here, if I can get her to move. Now I'm at the curve of the head. I have to follow the curve of the head, so it becomes more of a pivoting guide. Still the same vertical subsection. Guide comes back with me. I'm walking around the head now. On the flat part of the head, I could stay in one position. But as we get to the curve of the head, I have no choice but to walk around. These are reference points that you have to pay attention to. Again, keep in mind that you want to use your thumb when cutting. Notice I take a little bit of that subsection from the previous. I have my reference in the middle. I have my guide right there. Everything is there to help me be successful. Probably one more subsection. Should be close to the middle. It'll tell me because I should meet it. See? Kind of check yourself, which is nice. All right, the way to check this, so I'm going right back into the interior again. I'm just going to go across. Just come right in here to the interior, pull the hair straight up, check my line, make sure everything's square. Always, always, always check your work. That is square layers.